speaker is Billy McEwen. Billy's a convener, GMB convener in West Dunbartonshire Council. And we've had Billy doing before these meetings. Billy's somewhat of an expert on health and safety. I dare say your contribution will drift into that. But welcome, Billy.
Thanks, Tom. Tom's right. I'm going to look at this from the health and safety perspective. I'm going to start with some health and safety executive stats, and I'm going to show you how important trade union safety reps are in the workplace and just how damage the trade union bill will do to workplace health and safety. As I say, these stats are from HSE, so you can't deny them. They're fact. 1.2 million working people suffering from a work-related illness. 2,538 mesothelioma deaths due to past asbestos exposures. 142 workers killed. 76,000 other injuries to employees reported under RIDDOR. 611,000 injuries occurred at work, according to the Labour Force Survey. 27.3 million working days lost to work-related illness and workplace injury. £14.3 billion is the estimated cost of these injuries in our health from current working conditions. So that's the HSE stats. However, as well know, stats don't tell the truth. This statement is from Hazards. Staggering 142 workers have been killed while doing their jobs in the past year. The preventable deaths, an increase of 9 in 2013-14 figures, mainly occurred in the construction, agriculture and waste sectors, with 35, 33 and 5 fatal injuries to workers respectively. Being involved in the health and safety, there's always a really, really bad part of that, and that's workplace deaths. A couple of, I don't like using the word examples, but that's basically what they are. Cable systems makers McCall's Special Products was fined £200,000 for the death of agency worker Alan Gerard, aged 47, who was pulled in by machinery. Rettenmeyer UK Manufacturing was also fined £200,000 plus £100,000 costs earlier this year after employee George Major, 51, was dragged in and killed by an unguarded industrial blender in 2011. Meanwhile, a massive 2 million people have been suffering from an illness that has been caused or exacerbated by their jobs in the past 12 months, according to the Health and Safety Executive. As I said earlier, 27.3 million days in the past year, cost the economy an estimated 14.3 billion. Even although the HSE statistics show work is not getting safer or healthier, they mask far more than they reveal, according to Hilda Palmer. For this reason, the statistics should be taken with a pinch of salt. This is because the HSE does not count all deaths, injuries and illnesses due to major change to RIDDOR, the reporting of injuries, disease and dangerous occurrence regulations. The HSE also omits the effects of a 44% reduction in inspections and enforcement of health and safety law and the rapidly increasing number of work-related mental health cases. An estimated 234,000 incidences of stress, depression and anxiety have been recorded in the last year due to at-risk workers being overworked, underpaid and prone to exploitation by their bosses. The Tories' cavalier attitude to health and safety will also put more lives in jeopardy due to the trade union bill that weakens workers' rights. The TUC report, The Union Effect, outlined the difference that unions make. Workplaces with trade union health and safety representatives and safety committees had half the serious injury rate of those without. It's a pretty big difference. While all other European countries have health and safety reps, many are not trade union reps. Generally, those countries where reps are appointed and supported by unions are by far the safest. Here's a question. If union health and safety reps make such a difference, you'd have thought that it would be common sense to encourage and support them, regardless of any view of any trade union. So why is the government doing the exact opposite? One of the first acts they did after the May 2015 election was to publish the Trade Union Bill. There is a lot in this bill that will make life difficult for unions. All I am going to cover is how it is likely to affect our work health and safety. There are two proposals tucked in the bill that relate to facility time in the public sector, which is the amount of time given to workplace representatives to represent their members and undertake union duties as activists. Here's my big thing. Facility time is probably an unhelpful term when it comes to union health and safety reps, because their position is very different from that of any other reps, such as stewards, learning reps, equality reps and green reps. In the case of health and safety representatives, there is a legal duty on the employer to give them as much paid time off as they need to undertake their activities as a union health and safety rep. That is laid down in regulation. It is absolute. So please, do me a favour, if you're a safety rep, don't ask for facility time. You're entitled to time off. Regulations do not say that the employer can decide to restrict this time. If a representative needs it, you need it, but it will vary from week to week. That is why the unions have always advised against negotiating fixed facility time agreements for health and safety reps, and instead these agreements should ensure that they can take as much time as they need. Any agreed time should be for activities outside the rep's own workplace, such as attending union meetings and conferences. When it comes to facility time, the Trade Union Bill does two things. Firstly, it says that any public sector employer who has at least one union health and safety rep will have to record and publish all the time taken and any facilities provided. The definition of public sector is so wide it covers almost any employer who receives any kind of public funding and provides a public service, including charities and housing associations. The proposal is bureaucratic, it's pointless, and it will just mean that both employers and union reps will have to spend a lot of time with paperwork. This proposal probably comes from a time during the last government when cabinet ministers were obsessed with the amount of time that unions were being given to perform those functions that were legally entitled to do and which has been enshrined in agreements with an employer. Eric Pickles and Francis Maud in particular went on a mission against unions, backed of course by the taxpayers' alliance. However, before the May general elections, Francis Maud told MPs, and this is in his words, abuses of facility time have been dealt with. It makes the second proposal on facility time surprising. It is also a lot more dangerous. The bill would allow ministers to restrict the time off given to union health and safety reps by amending the Health and Safety at Work Act. All they have to do is introduce new regulations. Well, I think this is a really vindictive proposal and of course underhand. It's sneaking in the right to make changes by statutory instrument into a much wider bill. The current time off regulations are clear, simple and apply to all workplaces where there is a recognised union. The government now seeks permission to tear these up in the public sector. Of course, even if the bill did become law, they could not do it entirely, as European legislation states clearly that employers have to allow health and safety reps adequate time off work without loss of pay to exercise their rights and functions. However, they may well try to reduce some of the current requirements on employers that are laid down in the Safety Committee 1977 regulations, known to us as the Brown Book. At no time has this government given any justification for this proposal. Any reasonable employer welcomes the presence of health and safety reps, including most in the public sector. That is why this move makes absolutely no sense from a regulatory point of view. It will not save money or remove bureaucracy, nor will it improve safety. It's simply an ideologically led knee-jerk reaction which is fuelled by simple prejudice against trade unions and what they stand for. Of course, other parts of the bill will also affect our ability to protect our members. The most obvious are the proposed restrictions on the right to take industrial action, such as strikes or working to rule. Industrial action around health and safety is very rare. In fact, strikes over anything are pretty rare compared to other countries, or even the past in Britain. So when it does happen, it's clear that there are big problems in the workplace, and often it is defensive of safety reps. Examples in the past few months where unions have had to consider industrial action over health and safety issues include a power plant where management refused to allow a union to represent contractors over safety issues. Then there was a conference centre who sacked a union safety rep, and a couple of rail examples. In all, but one of these examples a matter was resolved, which shows that strike action or the threat of action can be a necessary tool in defending health and safety rights and health and safety reps. If the government gets its way, it will be far more difficult to take any form of industrial action. The changes would introduce a minimum turnout in the case of some public service workers, also insist that a certain proportion of those are entitled to vote 40% to do so in favour. These are not restrictions that apply to elections for MPs, MEPs, councillors or other officials, or to company shareholders or anyone else that I can think of. Other restrictions include time limits for strike mandates, which will encourage employers to try to delay issues, making meaningful negotiations more difficult. The bill also proposes change of picketing rights. Of course, industrial action over health and safety is a pretty rare occurrence. Much more common is the work that unions do to try to promote health and safety at parliamentary and EU level. Before the last election, unions worked hard to get political parties to support a number of key points. They were partially successful in that the Labour Party promised a number of things, such as increased inspection activity, more emphasis on preventing occupational health, cancers, and the big one for the TUC at the moment, maximum temperatures. A wee comment from the STUC. If the government was really concerned about the harm to the economy caused by lost working days, it would be addressing the scourge of work-related ill health, not the tiny comparison with the impact of strikes. Thank you very much for your time and listening to me.
Thanks, Billy. And you just heard a complete demolition of the Tory trade union bill based on health and safety grounds. So that was an excellent presentation.